focusing on here, what it feels like between the nose and the upper lip. Some people do that by focusing on the chest or the belly moving up and down. Um, Not attached to any of that, whatever works for you. What will happen, um, probably fairly quickly, is your mind will wander off, which is just fine. People come back to me sometimes and say, I can't meditate because I can't get my mind to be quiet. The mind does not do quiet. So, what we're learning here is to have a different relationship with the noise. When you notice that you've wandered off in thought, and you might notice it right away, or some period of time might go by, it's all good. You just come back to focusing on your breathing. You may have to do this 100 times in a 25-minute meditation. The point about that is we do it firmly, but gently. Emphasis on gently. This is a gentleness practice. So when we notice that we've wandered off, we don't go, oh my God. We don't there's no recrimination. There's no beating yourself up for doing it wrong. There's none of that because the mind just does that. We're training the mind to maybe do a little less of it. But to come back and just start again. Gently. It's not altogether unlike, I don't know if any of you have ever trained a puppy to heel. You're walking down the street with the puppy and the puppy wanders off and you pull it back and wanders off and you pull it back and wanders off and you pull it back. It's not, it wanders off and you don't scream at it and kick it and be mad at it. You just you lovingly, gently, just pull it back. This is the puppy mind. We're treating it, we're treating ourselves the same way. People who have been doing these sessions with me since I started in March know that I always come back to being kind and gentle with yourself and practicing self-compassion. And this is an exercise in that. And a term that I recently heard from my teacher, who is Gil Fonsdale in Redwood City, California, talked about and I mentioned this last week, what he referred to as the manual labor of meditation. And this is exactly what that is. You notice your mind has come back, gone off, you come back. It's gone off, you come back. It's just the way it is. The mind just kind of wanders around. So this is kind of a training. So with that, I invite you to find a meditation posture in which you are upright, but not rigid. This is a relaxed posture where you are upright enough to pay attention. You might want to sway back and forth, side to side, till you find a center, and let your back just sort of fall into its natural curve. And your hands rest in your lap. Some people rest one hand in the other. I'm not real rigid on form. And gently close your eyes. And just settle into your body. Noticing the feeling of your body settling into your seat. And I invite you to notice any tension and just relax it to the degree that you can. Anything I offer here is an invitation. You may or may not be able to just relax parts of your body, but it's an invitation to do so to whatever degree you can. And I'd like to invite you to notice the touch points. Notice how it feels at your feet resting on the floor or wherever they're resting. Notice the feeling of your hands in your lap. We're just settling into the body. The mind wanders to various times and places. The body is always in the present moment. Notice the feeling of your bottom on the cushion. You might notice the feeling of the ambient air around you if the room was cool or warm. And you're just letting gravity do its thing. I'd like to invite you to just take a few slow, deep breaths. About 3/4. And long, slow exhale. And as you exhale, just relax your shoulders. Another long, slow, deep breath. And relax the muscles in your face. Let your eyes roll back. Your face muscles do a lot of work. Relax your jaw. You might want to just let your jaw drop open a little bit to relax those muscles and close it again with your lips just slightly touching. And let your breathing return to normal. And bring your attention to your breathing. And just focus there. You can focus on your breath moving in and out of your nose and what that feels like. You can focus on your belly or your chest moving up and down, or all of it. Just letting your awareness rest on your body breathing. Just normal breathing. If your mind wanders off, that's okay. Just start over again. Come back. Just breathing in and out. If your mind wanders off, thoughts come and go. You can just notice thinking. It's just something the mind does without getting involved in the content of whatever thoughts are going by. If you can view your thoughts as like disembodied objects just sort of floating through the space in front of you. If you can, maybe you can notice who or what is watching these thoughts. Step back a little bit, kind of observe them. Be aware of them, but not go down the road with them. And come back to your breathing. If your mind wanders off, just come back. And as we come towards the end of this sitting, I invite you to notice being here in the present moment. During the course of this meditation, you may have gotten some periods of quiet in your head, maybe not. It's all good. You cannot do this wrong. The doing it is the doing it. So as we come to the end of this sitting, any benefit that you have gotten from this meditation period, any relaxation, any centeredness, any benefit at all, I invite you to open your heart and let that permeate into your life and flow out into whatever interactions you have with people today. Let that energy flow out into your home and into your neighborhood and into the world around you. May the benefits, whatever benefits, have come from this meditation practice today, benefit all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings be at ease and at peace. Thank you for your practice. Anybody watching the recording of this, if I looked a little distracted, this is the first time I'm managing 3 feeds at the same time. It's an experiment. We're seeing how that goes on YouTube and Facebook and here all at once. So I've been getting consultation on these teachings from Lama Yeshe Jinpa at the Lion's Roar Meditation Center in California. And he has been suggesting that I talk about ethics. And I have been contemplating how to do that without coming off like I'm lecturing you all on how to behave, which is absolutely never my intention ever, since I don't actually claim to know anything. So I thought that I would approach that by talking about my favorite sutra. And that is the Kalama Sutra. To me, it's the discourse of the Buddha that holds all of this together. It's the one where he encouraged independent inquiry and standards for discernment of the path forward. So as it happens, he was, Buddha was a wanderer. He was a traveler. He did it all on foot. And as it happens, he was visiting the Kalama tribe, which is why this is called the Kalama Sutra. And they were a little skeptical. And they came to him and they, and said, look, a lot of teachers come through here. And they all have their thing that they teach. And a lot of them denigrate other teachings and say theirs is the way. How are we supposed to know? And why should we believe you? And the first thing he did was he commended them for asking the question and recognized that, yes, there's a lot of different teachings out there. Just like today, there's a lot of different spiritual traditions and teachings out there. And yes, it can be confusing. So he said, do not go upon what has been acquired by repeated hearing, nor upon tradition, nor upon rumor, nor upon scripture, nor upon surmise, nor upon axioms, specious reasoning, or bias towards this notion pondered over and over again, nor upon another's seeming ability, or upon consideration that this person is a teacher. He also suggested not going on like scripture or tradition. He said, when you yourself know these things are bad, blamable, censured by the wise, undertaken and observed, and these things lead to harm, abandon them. When you yourself know that these things are good, blameless, praised by the wise, undertaken and observe these things to benefit and lead to happiness, enter and abide in them. So they were asking him, what is the truth and how do we discern it? And he did something that I think is really interesting. He didn't answer that question. He turned it into a teaching on the moral imperatives of the teachings. He didn't address what is true and what is not true. He addressed what is harmful and not harmful. He suggested we look towards what is beneficial, what promotes the greater good. The word in Pali for what he was teaching is kusala. My teacher, Gil Fonsdale, is a serious scholar, and he can take any one word in Pali and parse it into 15 different possible meanings. I've seen him do it. It's pretty impressive. But in talking about kusala, what Buddha was referring to is what is commonly translated as to the difference between wholesome or unwholesome behavior, which is also often translated into skilled or unskilled, which is my preferred take on that. There's a lot of talk in Dharma traditions about using skillful means. The question is not whether or not this teaching is true or valid or real or comes from a true, valid, or real place. The question is whether or not it promotes skillful means. Whether we know for ourselves that it leads to a broader benefit. Whether we know for ourselves that it enhances the well-being of ourselves and others. That's the criterion. So he was more interested in the ethics of how we behave than whether or not this or that teaching or religion reflects the truth as he understands it. Because even though he knew that he had discovered a truth, he wasn't really attached to it being your truth. So, in terms of skillful means, we start with do no harm. We start there, and we also end there. We start with, does this promote overall well-being? For me, that also includes, is it honest? If I have to hide something, it's probably a bad idea. There are 5 precepts in the Dharma. Not harming, not killing, not stealing, or taking what's not given, not acting out or causing harm by sex, are 3 of those. So if you're contemplating what you want to study, if it's the Eightfold Path or if it's the 12 steps, what you want to use as a guide, start with, does this promote overall well-being for myself and for others? And when I say for others, I caution about codependence. When we're working for the well-being of others, all of that revolves around taking care of ourselves. All of that revolves around the theme I keep coming back to in these teachings of self-compassion and self-care, because part of Skillful Means includes taking care of yourself. If you want to be of benefit to others, I applaud that. Everyone should applaud that. But it starts with you taking care of yourself. So, do not go by tradition. Do not go by it comes from a wise teacher. Do not go by scripture. Certainly do not go by me. I'm not that important. But contemplate whether or not the teachings and the actions and what is being promoted promotes your well-being and the greater good. So, that's all I have for this morning. Any questions, comments? Ken, you're full of it. Give this up and go back to being a cab driver, which isn't really that far afield from the 22 years I spent as a therapist, by the way. Okay. How does this time work for y'all? 9 o'clock. Yeah. I had this fantasy that when I retired, I would be somebody who now slept in. My body clock has not gone that way.
Welcome to getting old, Ken.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Welcome to getting old. My body clock hasn't changed since I worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things that's happening this morning, I have new hearing aids, so everything sounds different than it did before. So I'm going, a lot while I'm kind of getting used to that. I've been wearing hearing aids for like 20 years. I've given up on knowing what the world actually sounds like. Alrighty. I will be here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. If anybody needs to reach me in the meantime, you can reach me through the website. Most of you are on my mailing list. If you are not on the mailing list and you want to be, you can just leave that information in the chat. I'll leave this channel open for another couple of minutes.
Hi, Ken. I just had a quick question, and that is,
Sure.
Is there any update on the Wednesday session?
I'm sorry?
Is there any update on the Wednesday? I think you were considering beginning of Wednesday.
I have some things kind of going on. So that's not here yet. Basically, I'm gonna have periodontal surgery in a couple of weeks, so probably after that.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Well, I've always wanted general anesthesia for my birthday. So
I just wanted to make sure I hadn't missed anything.
now,
So thank you.
are you on my mailing list?
Yes.
Okay, you will know about that when the time comes.
Great.
Also, I have restarted my blog. It's on the website. So if you're interested in that, basically I'm writing reflections on what I'm teaching. I would like to tell you that I'm going to write every week, but I would probably be lying. Just the way it goes. But feel free to check it out if you feel so inclined. Also, I did put some information in the chat. There's my website. If you want to join my group on Facebook, where there's also a live feed of these sessions. It's Indiana Insight Meditation. There's a link to that. Also, these teachings are freely given, of course. If you feel motivated to donate, there's a link to do that. Any other questions? Okay, welcome to the new people. Grateful to be able to spend this time with y'all.
Thank you so much.
See you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.